Hey folks, Pepper Princess. So today's video is going to be a little bit of a serious one, but I'm sure that a lot of you guys can relate. It is my lowest money moment. So this is not my aha moment. This is not the moment when I realized that I was in debt and needed to get things straight. This was when I was at my absolute lowest point with money. So I was in my young 20s. I was renting an apartment with a roommate, and my roommate had no credit, so he told me that I should be the one on the lease. And I'm sure that just by me saying that, you guys are going to understand where this is going. So I haven't talked about this in years because it really does make my blood boil. So I am literally wringing my hands around my back so I don't punch something. That's how angry he made me. And I'm still angry to this day, more than 15 years later. So anyway, as you know, I was working 2 jobs from 6 a.m. until midnight, 6 days a week. And typically on the 7th day, the only day that I had off or had a half a day shift, I would be doing labor ready. So I was never home, as you can imagine. I got a phone call from the apartment leasing office stating that I had not paid my rent and I had 30 days to pay or I was going to be evicted. I immediately called them up and said, "What are you talking about? I've paid my rent in full every month since I've been here for 2 years." And one of the things that my roommate and I did was we paid separately. So he would pay half and I would pay half in separate checks. They said, "We've received your payments, but your roommate's payments have not gone through for about 4 months." So he hadn't been paying rent for 4 months. And I said, "Why didn't anyone tell me about this?" And they said, "We've been leaving notes on your door bi-weekly for the last 4 months." And I told them, I said, "I work 6 a.m. until midnight. I did not see any of these notes." And they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't know that." And I'm like, "Why didn't you call me? I'm on the lease." Anyway, okay, sorry. Let's try this a little bit more calmly. So, how did that happen? So, I found out that he hadn't been paying rent for about 3 or 4 months, and I had to break the lease and pay his back rent that he didn't pay. So he didn't pay $2,800 worth of rent, and breaking the lease was, I think, like $2,300. I'm not sure of the exact amounts. I do know that it was a lot, and I do know I didn't have the money. So I had to borrow money from my mother. It was the first, last, and only time I ever had to borrow any money from anyone ever. And at that point, I had already cut up my credit cards. I believe I was working on paying off my car. So it went credit cards, car, and then student loans. So I believe I was on my car. So I didn't have any credit cards. I had $17 in my bank account that had to last me 2 weeks until my next payday. And I was commuting 2 jobs in each direction. I think that it was like 35, 40 miles in each direction. And no matter how good your gas mileage is, you guys can imagine. So I didn't have any food. I didn't have any gas. And at the time, I smoked cigarettes. I didn't have money for cigarettes. I didn't have money for coffee. So as you can imagine, I was in a pretty bad place. I also had to do laundry. Didn't have any money to do laundry. I think that the $17 went all to gas. And then I think that I sold something on Craigslist for like $20. And that's pretty much what got me through to the next payday. But I do remember at one point being on one of my breaks crying in my car. And, I probably, looking back, could have called a credit card company and gotten a credit card number and bought whatever I wanted to, but I knew that that was a fork in the road for me. If I had gone that route, I would have probably gone back into debt. So I decided I was just going to pull through and keep moving forward. I do remember doing laundry in my bathtub, and I couldn't afford laundry detergent, so I was using dishwashing liquid to wash my clothes in the bathtub. And then I was, of course, drying them in my bathroom in the apartment with my roommate, who I did not tell I knew. I didn't tell him that I knew what I knew. So on moving out day, he caught me moving out my furniture and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm moving out." He said, what am I supposed to do? I said, I don't know. You have to be out in 24 hours. That was beautiful. Anywho, okay, so that was a little bit of a hard story for me to tell. And if you guys have any questions about this story, do not ask them because they make me angry. But I love you all. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.